Welcome to Medical Mondays. I'm Matthew Bulow, aviation attorney over at Ramos Law. Each week, we're going to be breaking down FAA medical guidelines so pilots know exactly what to expect and how to protect their medical certificate. Have you ever fainted or passed out? The medical term for this is syncope, and the FAA definitely needs to know about it if you've ever experienced it when you are applying for airman medical certification. First, we'll cover the reporting requirements. On your MedXPress application, which you will fill out prior to your AME exam, you'll check yes to one or several boxes. Question 18B, as in Bravo, asks whether you've ever had dizziness or a fainting spell. The MedXPress user guide provides examples of reportable symptoms of that, which range from frequent spinning or lightheadedness all the way down to headaches, nausea, or vertigo. Question 18C, as in Charlie, asks whether you've been unconscious for any reason. Question 18G, as in Golf, asks whether you've ever had a heart attack or vascular trouble, which may be the known underlying cause of a syncopal event. Question 18L, Lima, asks about neurological disorders, which can obviously lead to syncopal events. And question 18U, as in Uniform, asks about hospitalizations, which would only be relevant if you were hospitalized related to a syncopal event. Be sure to check any and every relevant box on the MedXPress here to ensure you are accurately reporting your medical history to the FAA. Now we can talk about how your AME and the FAA will approach the review of your application when reporting a history of syncope. First, we look to the syncope disposition table in the AME guide. As we can see, if the event or events were the result of a simple known cause and the condition is completely resolved, then your AME can gather information, complete the associated AME decision tool, and then either issue or defer to the FAA for further review. Some common causes of syncope that may fall into this category are a blood draw, new medications, dehydration, overheating, or even just standing still for too long. If your history falls into that category, then your AME will ask you some more questions to determine the likely cause of the event or events, whether you've recently been exposed to that cause, and whether you continue to react to it, and they will consider the likelihood of encountering that known cause when flying or just in everyday life. They'll ask 6 specific questions, and if each of your responses falls into the no or clear category, and the AME has no other concerns, then they may issue your medical certificate right there in the office. Now, if your AME does have other concerns, you had a yes response to the questions on the decision tool, or your syncopal event or events were either unrelated or due to an unknown or unexplained cause, then your application will be deferred and you'll have to provide additional information for review and potential special issuance. First, you'll have to collect a whole bunch of cardiac information. You'll need a current cardiac evaluation, an echocardiogram, a stress test, a Holter monitor, lab results, relevant cardiology or emergency department records, and if you're over 40, a carotid duplex ultrasound. You'll send all that information to the FAA and see what they say. You may be granted a special issuance authorization based solely on that info. You may be denied due to a high risk for sudden incapacitation and an inability to mitigate that risk, or the FAA may determine that further info is necessary. If no cardiac cause is found following that cardiac evaluation, then you may be required to provide a neurological evaluation to FAA specs. Following review of that neurological evaluation, the FAA will similarly issue, deny, or request more info. Finally, if there is no definitive cause identified of your syncope, then you must wait for a required 2-year recovery period before providing further information for FAA review and possible issuance. So if you've ever fainted or even gotten that pre-syncope feeling of dizziness and lightheadedness, you may need to report that to the FAA. If you need help reporting that history to the FAA and navigating the medical certification process, reach out to an aviation attorney for the expert guidance you need to get that medical back in your pocket. See you next week for another Medical Monday. And as always, remember to like, share, and subscribe down below.